Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show. We're just at about 7:16 a.m. this morning. And as we head on into this first segment, we are chatting with Dr. Winford James, political analyst. Good morning to you, Dr. James.
Good morning,
Good
Julian. Good
morning.
morning, Rhea. And let
Good
me
morning, sir.
immediately join my voice to the congratulatory remarks about Erland Kent. You may not know, but Erland was a student of mine. And I'm always happy when my students advance. So, congratulations to Erland, and may he continue to make his family proud. May he continue to make Tobago proud.
Yes, certainly a proud moment
Indeed.
for us here in Tobago. And definitely congratulations are noted. Well, as we get the conversation started this morning, yesterday, following a series of events over the last few weeks, we saw certain revelations being made by the Chief Secretary within a special sitting of the Tobago House of Assembly. We want to start off firstly by getting your perspective on what is being described as the allegations and the information being put out there based on information gathered by a whistleblower.
Well, I suppose in summary, we can say that was a bombshell allegation, or the allegations were bombshell allegations. And what the secretary has done is to turn the narrative that started with AudioGate, to turn that away from him and to focus it now on the Prime Minister, the Commissioner of Police, some other police officers, but those two persons or officials in particular, the spotlight now has been shifted from the chief secretary to a certain extent and has now been placed on these high officials. And, you know, what we expected them to do, they have begun doing. Ansel, that's the third person, Ansel Dennis as well. What we expected them to do, they have done. They have denied the allegations. So they chose the path of deniability. And in the case of the chief secretary, one wonders about the credibility of Akil Abdullah, because he's the source of the chief secretary's information, or the main source. And so there will be a different talking point um, in Tobago and the rest of the nation for some time to come. And I believe the chief secretary invited us to remember what happened at Emailgate. And of course, the person who was at the center of the allegations in terms of who made the allegations was Dr. Keith Rowley. Now we have Farley Augustine making these allegations or revealing these allegations um, against the Prime Minister, who has denied, along with the Commissioner of Police.
I want to
All is what we expected.
Dr. James, bearing in mind the persons who the allegations would have been put out against, what is the hope here going forward? That there will really be a serious look into it, or there is a heavier rather reliance on the court of public opinion in these circumstances, which sometimes weighs a little heavier?
But we can't escape the court of public opinion. And we are happy that the public is really the court, because there must be a way of talking about the issue, hearing what other people are saying, and consensuses being built as a result of the conversation. Conversation is good, especially in political matters, right? But there are officials that we have in the way we are run constitutionally who are supposed to act independently and who are supposed to take action based on what comes before them independently. So we are the chief secretary is expecting action from the police, but he doesn't trust the police. He's expecting action from the director of public prosecutions. That might happen. The somebody has to take the information to the Director of Public Prosecutions, um, and we expect the police to be the ones, who are supposed to do that. But the chief secretary is expecting that to happen. Not only that, but he has decided to write international bodies complaining or at least reporting on what has occurred, and he's expecting international condemnation um, of the attempts, in his judgment, to besmirch his name, attempts to put him in bad light and to destroy him and his administration. That's what he's hoping. But there will be a different talking point now in the country with respect to um, what has happened in Audio Gate. And this chief secretary has quite a number of questions that he asked at the very end of his presentation, which questions will have renewed focus and importance as the days go by. We don't know, so we are going to be listening. We are going to follow the events. The opposition in Trinidad, I'm sure, is going to take the matter up. I think we are in for some very interesting times, to put it very mildly.
Opinion, are there lines being crossed? Are there lines being crossed into the THA's affairs with regards to the Commissioner of Police, the Prime Minister? Um, there seems to be some say there's some muddying of the waters with regards to where the lines are drawn and the crossing of these lines into the THA's affairs. Your thoughts?
Well, I haven't heard the crossing of the line bit. I know that we have had, for example, Marvin Gonzalez talking about the park at Cove, and almost rebuking, remonstrating with the House of Assembly for undertaking that project without seeking the advice of or the help of the House of Assembly. But if that is what Mr. Gonzalez intended, he's out of line in that case. He's crossing the line if that's where he's going with that. That's not his business, but there is a whole more than a century of abuse of Tobago and its homegrown opinions for quite some time. Now, with respect to what the chief secretary revealed to us yesterday, was that crossing of the line? Well, the chief secretary is saying if what Akil Abdullah is revealing is true, then it is clear that an attempt was made to corrupt public officials, that the prime minister crossed the line in apparently instructing Miss Christopher uh, to do whatever. But there is that charge. There is a charge, of course, of uh, the person, the police officer in whose name the warrants were made out. That police officer being in the room as part of a conversation to bring the chief secretary down. Now, remember, we are saying these are allegations. We don't know. But if they are true, then there's definitely a crossing of the line, because the prime minister is not supposed to instruct the police officer, the police commissioner, and the, the the leader, political leader of the Tobago PNM, if these matters are official, has no locus standi in how the House of Assembly is run. I'm talking from an official point of view. If these things are true, then there has been a crossing of the line by the police, by the prime minister, and by the political leader of the PNM, Tobago PNM.
Dr. James, bearing in mind the intention that the chief secretary stated, and you made reference to it, to be able to write to these, regional and international entities, And it is no secret that the opposition leader has also taken that kind of position to write. Are you concerned any at all of how this begins to posture Trinidad and Tobago in the eyes of those outside of Trinidad and Tobago regarding the current leadership and more so the country as a whole?
Well, we don't know what the fallout will be. And in the first place, if the chief secretary is going to embark on an action like that, there are risks. And one of the risks, of course, is to malign the reputation of Tobago and, of course, Trinidad and Tobago. But this is politics we are involved in. And we know that the party in power national is different from the party in power in Tobago, and they don't see eye to eye as we expect, and that there are wounds that are festering in the politics of the two islands. So we know that, and we can quickly say that it is, um, you know, almost, this is to be understood that that will happen or that could happen, and we can almost, forgive the chief secretary for taking that course of action. But if he feels himself to be under threat, if he feels that his administration is under threat, then the extreme action which we are saying it is perhaps understandable. Although we could have said that it could have been avoided, it was also avoidable if the politics of the country were run differently. So yes, there might be that concern, but I think Chief Secretary is more concerned about survival, because if what Akil Abdullah is reported to have said to him and is reported to have been exposed to, like bribery, for example, being paid to bring the house down, to bring father down. If that is the case, we can understand Fali's alarm at that intent, and he has produced evidence. Whether the evidence is credible or not, that's a different story. But given the chief secretary's sense of the danger to which his administration was being put, that there was this plot to bring them down, right? And of course, give the PNM a better advantage in expectation of the next general elections. And we're not talking local government elections now, although that might be impacted. But if we are talking about the peril that the chief secretary sees himself um, to be a victim of, then you could understand why he has taken the steps that he has taken. I don't know that he could have avoided some of the things given the toxic relationship between the House of Assembly and the central government.
Dr. James, the flip side, very quickly before we close this morning. How do you respond to those that indicate that this is merely, raised now, intending to be a distraction, as was raised by the minority leader, and you're hearing some indicating that via social media as well, a distraction from the real issue in relation to the concerns associated with the audio clip?
Well, I don't know if that's the real issue. I'm not one of those guys who think that the audio clip is clear enough. I know that there is a dominant narrative relation to it, that there is a plot to use state funds, in a way that is unacceptable. But for me, the audio tape was not as clear, and it what has developed suggests that the thing was not done as professionally as the creators intended it to be done. So I don't know, but it cannot be a distraction. Distraction from what? It cannot be a distraction from the audio tape because the investigation is going on. But when you have developments of the kind that the chief secretary has put before our faces, then this is not simply a distraction, because the question is, what is the real issue here? It is not simply a political party planning, discussing how to misuse state funds. It doesn't seem to be that way. And now, if you have the police commissioner involved, if these things are true, these are merely developments, we don't know. If you have the police commissioner involved, but denying it, if you have the prime minister involved, but denying it, if you have I understand that Mr. Dennis will be making a statement later today, but apparently he's going to deny it, then this is not a distraction. This is a terrible development, and we must get to the heart of it, you know. But there'll be the political noises, and things will become clearer as more information comes to light. But it seems to me that apart from just simply denying that they were involved, the question is, how do they explain the charges being leveled against them by Akil Abdullah? He's making some very serious charges. His credibility, of course, is at stake, and his life, I might say, might be in some jeopardy here. But there are questions that the public needs answers to. It is not the best, as Rhea was saying at the start of the show, it's not what she would have wanted to see happen, develop in the country. It's not what she was expecting yesterday, from a personal perspective. It is not what we would like to see happen, but politics is like that. Things are not as hunky-dory as we would like, and we have to go on with the business of the land.
All right. Thank you very much there, Dr. James. We got to leave it there, folks. Dr. Winford James, political analyst, certainly giving us his opinion and that perspective in relation to where things are at currently. And based on the way things are happening, Dr. James, certainly I know we will be chatting in the coming days and weeks as the
I hope we
perspectives
do.
and the views continue to come forward. Thank you very much again, Dr. Winford
You're
James, for
welcome,
joining
both
us
of you.
here on set.
And I hope.
All right, viewers, we want to thank you so much for your continued love and support and for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. At this point, we want to remind each and every one of you, those connected via TV, those listening in on the radio, and even those of you joining us on social media, we remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.